What's up, fellas? Here for with the second video of the year, and the video that'll be the last one before the games actually start. I know you guys are wanting to know what your commissioner thinks were the best and worst draft picks of each round, so I'm going to bring that to you, and then we will also have power rankings for the to start the season. Based on just how I evaluated each team, I basically just assigned a particular number to each player, and then just total the score and kind of go from there, and make some slight adjustments here and there. Based on whatever I think. Obviously, it's just for all fun and games, and for us to argue a little bit about. And as most of you guys know, they will be adjusted each week based on how your teams perform, and obviously injuries and things of that nature. So, without further ado, I'm going to get started. Obviously, the first few rounds of the draft are kind of hard to say who's best and who's worse, because everything's pretty chalky for the most part. So I have to nitpick a little bit, but as the draft goes, it gets a little bit easier. I didn't write down where these players were picked in the round, but I just put the player and who drafted them. I would say the best pick in the first round was Austin Eckler. That was a draft pick by Garrett, and I believe he got him at pick 7. I just think the value there was pretty good, and that's why he got the first pick. I think Eckler should have probably went in the top 5. So that's obviously the first pick there. It's not much to talk about considering everybody knows he's one of the top players. I would say the worst pick in the first round was Najee Harris, and that was picked by Jason C. I think that was the 5th pick in the round, if I'm correct, but I'm not 100% certain. He's dealing with the Liz Frank injury. I don't know if that's going to limit his, ability to play, or if it's going to, nag him throughout the year. Also, the Steelers aren't supposed to be that good of a team, in my opinion. Obviously, they're going to try to give him a lot of touches, and he may get some dump offs here and there, but his upside is definitely limited, in my opinion. I think there was probably some better picks he could have taken there that are, in my opinion, less risky. Moving on to round number 2, I have the best pick of that round going to Dakota, who drafted Saquon Barkley. Obviously, Barkley has had some disappointing seasons recently, but to my understanding, he is fully healthy. The Giants should be okay, I guess. But if he's fully healthy, he can play the season. I believe they'll get him plenty of touches. He could, compete for a top 5 running back in the league. And so to get him in the second round is a pretty good value to me. The worst pick in the second round goes to Jason F., who drafted Deebo Samuel. I obviously don't think the 49ers are going to use him as a running back like they did last year. He's kind of come out and said he doesn't want that. Obviously they'll still use him a little bit, but I believe that running production will probably at least get cut in half, in my opinion. And then the fact that they're moving on to Trey Lance as quarterback, it just means the passing game is going to be limited, in my opinion. He's obviously going to run a little bit more. And then if Kittle and Ayuk are healthy, it just limits his ability, in my opinion. So got that as the worst pick of round 2. Going to round 3, I have the best pick going to Josh, who drafted CeeDee Lamb. Of course, I'm a little biased because I'm a Cowboys fan, but I thought CeeDee Lamb should have been a round 2 pick. So getting him around 3, I believe, is a pretty good value. I have the worst pick around 3 going to Garrett, number 2. Garrett Pastor. He drafted Breece Hall. Obviously, there's a lot of hype around him. He's a rookie, but he plays on the Jets. I think the Jets suck. I don't see them being able to produce very well, and to draft him in round 3, I think is quite a reach. I believe he should have probably more been a round 4, round 5 pick. He wasn't going to be on any of my teams unless he dropped to like 6, most likely. But obviously, he's competing with Michael Carter for touches, and that I just think that offense is going to be very limited. In round number 4, best pick goes to Dakota, who drafted Kyle Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts should have been around 3 picks, so to get him in round 4 is very good value. Obviously, he's pretty much ranked the number 3 tight end going into the season. He doesn't play on a very prolific offense, so he is kind of limited there. But I mean, he dominated as a rookie. He's obviously going to probably improve his own talent ability, but there is quarterback issues in Atlanta, so that will limit him some. But I mean, he's just absolutely amazing. He can just take the ball and just dominate at any point. So great pick there. Worst pick in round 4, I gave to Garrett number 2 as well. He took Jerry Jeudy. I do think Jerry Jeudy will have a good season. I just think round 4 is a little early. I think he's more round 5, round 6 pick in my opinion. I mean, obviously, like I say, he's a good player. I just don't think the best going on there. In round number 5, I have the best pick. I actually have a tie here. I have both Garrett's, Garrett Baker and Garrett Pastor. Garrett Baker took Darren Waller. I'm a big Darren Waller fan myself. I think round 5 is a good value where he got him. And then Garrett Pastor took Justin Herbert. I think getting him in round 5 is good value. And I think a lot of other drafts, he's probably going around 3 and round 4. So to get him in round 5 is good work there. Worst pick in round 5 goes to Josh, who drafted CEH. I guess he's the starter, but he's competing with McKinnon. He's competing with Isaiah Pacheco. I don't trust him. He's definitely, in my opinion, like a round 7, round 8 guy. So to draft him in round 5 is quite a reach, in my opinion. In round 6, I have another tie for pick between Dakota and it looks like Jason C. Dakota drafted George Kittle in that round. George Kittle should have probably been drafted in round 4 or 5. So get him around 6, good value. Obviously, he already drafted Pitts, so I'm not really sure how he's going to manage that. And then Jason C. drafted, I believe I have Michael Thomas written down here. Obviously, it's a little bit of a gamble given his injury history, but if he's healthy, I mean, obviously Michael Thomas was number 1 receiver a couple years ago, so he definitely has top 10 upside, so I think it's a good pick there. The worst pick in that round I give to Jason F., who drafted Devin Singletary in round 6. Definitely like around 8, 9 draft pick in my opinion. Quite a reach there. Obviously, he finished the year pretty strong last year, but they still have Zach Moss. They drafted James Cook, to be part of that backfield, so limiting probably his pass catching ability because I believe they're going to throw the ball to Cook. I just don't think it was quite a reach on Singletary there. In round 7, I have the best pick going to myself. I drafted A.J. Dillon. I had A.J. Dillon as a round 5, round 6 pick in my opinion. He's obviously, in my opinion, the best backup in the league. I think he's going to do like probably 60-40 split with Aaron Jones. And if something happens to Aaron Jones, I think A.J. Dillon's a top 5 running back. So I think it's a good pick there. Worst pick in round 7 goes to Garrett's number 2, who drafted Pat Freiermuth. I believe there's still decent tight ends on the board. He's a double-digit round tight end, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to have that great of a year. That is quite a reach, in my opinion. And I definitely do not like that pick there. In round 8, I have the best pick going to Garrett Pastor, who drafted Ramondre Stevenson. Obviously, he's competing with Damian Harris, but there's been a lot of hype around Stevenson this year. I'm not really sure what the Pats are going to do on offense. They can't even decide who their offensive coordinator is going to be, and they've looked like crap all offseason and in the preseason. So not really sure, but there's a lot of hype around him, so I think a good pick there. Worst pick in round 8, I have going to Josh, who drafted Hunter Henry. Once again, quite a reach on a tight end. Hunter Henry, to be honest, I'm not even sure he should have been drafted, let alone in a single-digit round. So quite a reach there. In round 9, I have the best pick going to Garrett Pastor again, who drafted Brandon Ayuk. I think it's a good pick there. I have him probably round 7, round 8 value. I think I took him in one of my leagues. I think he's competing with Debo for targets quite a bit there in San Francisco. Obviously, Trey Lance limits that a little bit. If something were to happen to him, then you got Jimmy G, who can throw a little bit better. But Ayuk's looked very good in camp from what I understand, so I like the pick there. Worst pick in round 9 I have going to Ray, who drafted Garrett Wilson. Kind of the same thing with Breece Hall. Like, I just think the Jets' offense is going to suck. I don't think Zach Wilson is really any good. Obviously, they're probably going to start the season with Joe Flacco with Wilson's injury. But he's, like, super old. So he's a rookie. He's going to be competing with Elijah Moore, Corey Davis for targets. Obviously, with the running backs as well. I just think if you wanted somebody like that, you could have probably got him around 11 or 12. In round 10, I have the best pick going to Dalton, who drafted Melvin Gordon. Obviously, everybody's super, super excited for Javonte Williams, and he's going to get plenty of work, but so is Melvin Gordon. Both those guys they might even be 50-50. I mean, maybe it could be 60-40 leaning in Williams' way, but Gordon played very well last year. He's going to compete. And if something happens to Williams, Gordon, he could slide right in there, be a top 15 guy. Very good value in round 10. Worst pick in round 10 goes to Derek, who drafted Kenny Golladay. He's a fucking dinosaur at this point. He has not played well at all for the Giants. He probably shouldn't have been drafted, and I almost promise he'll be cut from your team in like 2 to 3 weeks into the season. In round 11, I have the best pick going to Kenny, who drafted Nyheim Hines. Obviously, he'll be the pass-catching down back for the Colts. The Colts should have an improved offense this year with Matt Ryan there. So he should get some passing down work. And if, let's say, something were to happen to Jonathan Taylor, his workload would go up. I'm not sure he would be like the bell cow by any means, but decent value there in round 11. And then the worst pick in round 11 goes to all the people who drafted a defense, because that's way too fucking early to draft defense. That goes to both Garrett's and Derek, who all drafted defenses. And it's even worse that that Garrett number 2 drafted the Steelers defense, who is, I think, probably like ranked in the double digits for defenses going into the season. At least, Garrett Baker and Derek drafted like top, ranked defenses. I mean, just too early for defenses. I don't think you draft the defense till, most people say the last 2 rounds. I'll give you at least the last 3. If you want to reach a little bit and get one you like. But, just obviously you guys knew that was coming. In round 12, I had the best pick going to myself, drafting Kenny Gainwell. Obviously, Miles Sanders hasn't been the best back for the Eagles. They're supposed to be very good this year. I think Gainwell can, compete for some touches. And if Sanders doesn't, play well or gets hurt, Gainwell could be right into a very, good offense and get quite a bit of touches there. And then the worst picks in round 12 go to Derek and Garrett number 2, who drafted kickers, because it's too early to draft kickers, in my opinion. In round 13, best pick goes to Kenny, who drafted Khalil Herbert. I really think that David Montgomery is not going to play well this year. I don't think he fits the new scheme for the new team, the coaching staff there. And I think, Herbert looked like the better, back a good bit of last season. He may take over that job by chance. So to get him so late in the draft, somebody that has that kind of promise is a very good pick. Worst pick in that round goes to Garrett number 2, who drafted Mike Davis. I don't think he's any good. He's obviously on the Ravens, but he'll be competing with Gus Edwards, who I think he's on the PUP list to start the year, so he's out first 4 weeks. Obviously, he's competing with Dobbins, and then Lamar Jackson runs it, half the time anyways. I'm aware Dobbins may not be, ready to go to start the season, so Davis could get you a week or 2, a solid production, possibly. I think they play the Jets the first week, so obviously he'll be a very popular waiver wire pickup and a popular player in DFS if that is the case. But I don't like the pick. In round 14, best pick I have going to Jason F., who drafted Brian Robinson. Obviously, we're all aware he got shot. It wasn't life-threatening. Prior to that, he was supposed to be probably the starting running back for the Redskins, or I guess the Commanders. And I think if that wouldn't have happened, he probably would have been picked in the 7th or 8th round. Obviously he's on the unable to, perform list, which keeps him out the first 4 weeks. But if he's healthy and he comes back, I mean, this guy could be a top 20 running back, probably. So to get him in second last round is very good. Probably able to put him on IR most likely, before that. Worst pick around 14 goes to Ray, who drafted Mike Gesicki at tight end from the Dolphins. Obviously, Gesicki has played well in the past, but the new scheme and the new coaching staff are going to have him blocking a lot more than usual. So I just don't think it was a very good pick there. And then around 15, best pick I have going to Jason F., who drafted Justin Fields. Obviously, it's just a flyer pick, but if he can pan out, and put up some rushing production and, throw the ball to, I guess, Cole Kmet and Darnell Mooney. I don't even know who the second receivers are there, but nice flyer pick. Obviously, it's boom or bust at that point. Doesn't really matter. Worst pick in that round goes to Derek, who drafted Shi Smith. This might be the only draft on ESPN where he was drafted that doesn't have like 20 rounds. He's got to be the fourth, at least at best, the fourth receiver on the Panthers, behind DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and Terrace Marshall. I don't even know how much he's going to see the field. It seems like a wasted pick. There could have been so much better players to pick. I'd be surprised if he even catches 500 yards this year. I mean, to be serious, but that's what I got there. I will read off the power rankings real quick and then wrap up the video here. And I will post the power rankings on the league page and in the group chat as well for everybody. I will start at number 1. I have Garrett Baker, number 1 team going into the season. Number 2 team I have is Dakota. Number 3 is myself. Number 4 is Dalton. Number 5 is Kenny. Number 6 is Jason F. Number 7 is Josh. Number 8 is Michael. Number 9 is Derek. Number 10 is Ray. Number 11 is Jason C. And based on the worst picks, and a good chunk of them were Garrett number 2. So obviously, Garrett number 2 is going to be the 12th seed going into the season. So look forward to hearing what you guys think and, getting a little banter going. And I look forward to the season. Make sure you get your lineup set. Obviously, Thursday's first game should be a big one. Bills and Rams. And look forward to the season. See you guys next week.